Welcome back, everyone. This is Deathstroke9, and today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different than normal. This is continuing my little series on different ways to create good stories. Specifically, it's been about mostly good characters. We've had good monsters, or specifically memorable monsters, and creating good player characters and stuff. This one's going to be on creating necessary non-player characters. Now, what that means specifically is a little bit of this is a little bit more of an opinion. I encourage you to try it out. You don't have to, obviously. So the idea behind this is that not every non-player character is essential. And when you get rid of the non-essential ones, you can tighten up your story very well. Now, this works better for Call of Cthulhu, and you can apply it to everything, not just non-player characters. Location-wise, plot device-wise, you can apply it to everything. So, what does this mean? For an example, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to the popular television show Stranger Things. Now, in Stranger Things, the first season, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm going to say that the first season was surrounding a very limited number of very well-developed characters. And everything took place around 4 or 5 principal locations. There was a school, some guy's cabin, this other person's house. Those were like the main places where things took place, where events happened. And by doing that, the creators of the show were able to put a lot of thought and many layers into what it was that they were creating. And that made, to me, the first season of the show really, really, really good. Now down the line, they've made season 2 and season 3. Every time they've expanded, which is great. It gives more actors like myself more jobs. It allows the story to develop and go off on tangents and make new subplots and introduce us to new, delightful characters. However, these characters are now getting shallower and shallower. What was once all these layers in one thing has been spread to a thin layer over everything. Now, there's probably some exceptions to this generalization in Stranger Things Season 2 and 3, and I still liked those seasons, but I will say that it makes for much better scary movie or scary role-playing content when you focus on a small group of people. So instead of making everyone a stereotype with a single trait, this is the nerdy guy, this is the football player, and this is his cheerleader girlfriend. This is the grizzled old detective guy. This is the mean old librarian who says shh all the time. Those are not really characters. Those are stereotypes. When you take that mean librarian character and add in a bunch of different sub areas of this person's life, and you build layers and make it go down. So on surface level, she looks like just that old lady who goes shh at the library. But then you find out she has like hearing damage or something, which makes, if you talk too loud, her ears start to bleed or something like that, right? Then you find out that she's actually very kind in certain situations. Then you find out that she had a very troubled childhood, which might have included having like something that ties into the ear damage thing. You can add so much to different characters if you just take the time to flesh them out. And a lot of times you don't take the time to flesh them out because you've made too many. You have all these great ideas, and you take one great idea, put it into one. Another, put it into the next, like an assembly line. If you find yourself doing this, one thing that I recommend is condensing characters. For instance, in a script that I'm writing, I originally had a very bad girl character and a very good girl character, right? second draft, I cut the good girl character and put all the traits of the one side of the spectrum and the other side of the spectrum and kind of put them together and fleshed out the characters better. And also another example of this is in the first draft, there were like 5 or 6 different cop characters, and I stopped with the generalization and just created one cop character who's set on like a revenge quest, and he has almost his entire subplot, as opposed to just a bunch of different police officers. That is a way of condensing the amount of characters that you have and creating more necessary, many-layered, deep, interesting non-player characters, which builds story much better than it would otherwise. Personally, I have found this to be of great use, especially in scary movies. Another great example is the movie Signs versus the movie Independence Day. Both of them are great movies, but which is scarier? Which has more well-fleshed out, developed characters that are not stereotypes? Independence Day might have 1 or 2 characters who are well-fleshed out, not stereotypes. And even they're still kind of stereotypical. Then you look at Signs, and obviously some people don't like the movie Signs. It's an M. Night Shyamalan alien movie. If you haven't seen it, then you're probably not going to get this reference. But it's about an alien invasion, and instead, it's just like Independence Day, but instead of taking it to a global scale with dozens of characters who are, half of them are army men. That's the difference between Pulp Cthulhu and Classic Cthulhu, really. Whereas Signs is the story of a family. And not just a family, but a family that has actually lost multiple members. So it's the dad, the dad's brother, and the dad's 2 kids. I think it's 2 kids. I'm pretty sure it's 2 kids. It's been a while since I saw it. Those are pretty much all the principal characters. Those are all the characters that are there the whole time. There's one area where they go out into the town, and then there's a few really quirky characters that are still not stereotypes. They're super weird. But they're not really that important. They've only got like a minute of screen time, and then you're back to the same 4 principal characters. Those 4 characters are so deep and have so many layers and have so many nuances to them. And whoever wrote it did a really good job of keeping their focus small. And I guess that's the idea behind this entire concept, is narrowing your focus so you can expand your horizons. You want to... One second, let me plug this in. You want to narrow... Did that work? Yes, it did. Okay, sorry. You want to narrow down or reduce the quantity so you can increase the quality. You want to take your main characters and kill half of them off. Put all the different ideas that you had for all of these non-player characters and put them together. Make them more fleshed out as opposed to having dozens of them. And again, I will say that this is way more advice for Call of Cthulhu, and I can definitely understand where people would say, this is different in Dungeons and Dragons, where it's supposed to be way bigger, expansive, and huge, It's a pretty simple concept. It might be a little bit difficult for you to do, but again, I will say that if you have way too many non-player characters, it will be very easy for you to do because you can just condense them. And obviously, this won't work in all circumstances. Like I said, Pulp Cthulhu is a good example of when this might not work. I've been reading through the Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign. I might review it soon. And it's definitely written with a pulpy feel. If I run it, I feel like I might change that because I personally like classic Cthulhu, classic Call of Cthulhu. I like the slow build, the rise of tension, the mystery. I'm okay with sometimes having fast-paced action-y ones, but those are not really action. They're way more gory. As you can see from the raid of Area 51 is a slow build, and then our scenario, Only Human, was a lot faster paced and had a lot more gore and death in it. I'm not a huge fan of playing Indiana Jones in Call of Cthulhu. Maybe it would be fun. I have heard something about Pulp Cthulhu that makes me a little bit hesitant to get it and review it, because of the fact that there's like this luck component that makes luck almost the main thing of the game and kind of unbalances all the rest of the statistics. I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not, and if it is, I'm probably going to end up getting it and reviewing it, and if it is, then I'll let you know. Anything else? I think that this is an important concept. Again, it's an opinion, it's an acquired taste, but it helps me tremendously when I'm creating stories, and I want my players to get invested in characters. You need to make your characters quirky, but you want to make them necessary. You want to make sure that they are important to your story. What purpose are they serving your story? Because every single character serves a purpose. I was talking to a guy who makes like a screenwriting teacher, and he was just telling me this exact thing, that every single character serves a purpose. You need to understand what purpose this character is supposed to serve your story. And if they are not essential, cut them. Take their ideas and put it into someone else's. Yeah. I hope that helps you when you're creating a scenario. It helps me a lot. So thank you very much for watching this. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and yeah, more great content on the way. Sorry I didn't upload yesterday on Wednesday, which is when I normally do it. I try to upload 2 or 3 times a week, to anyone who doesn't know. And yeah, that's about it. Deathstroke 9 out. Thank you for watching.